Jinx here for Complex News. Today reporting on yet another fatal shooting of a black man by police. This latest instance took place in Baton Rouge, Louisiana this past Tuesday morning, where 37-year-old Alton Sterling was shot and killed during an altercation with two Baton Rouge police officers. The Advocate, Louisiana's largest daily publication, reports that at around 12:35 a.m., Baton Rouge police responded to the Triple S Food Mart at 212 North Foster Drive after an anonymous caller indicated that a man in a red shirt who was selling CDs outside the store pointed a gun at someone, telling them to leave the property. According to Baton Rouge Police Department spokesman Corporal LeJean McNeely. While some details of what occurred prior to the fatal shooting are still unclear as of this report, cell phone footage of at least a portion of the altercation had gone viral this past Tuesday evening. I warn you, the footage is graphic and captured a portion of the incident, what appears to be the moment that Alton Sterling is tased by the two officers, the following physical altercation involving all three people, all the way up until the first shot is fired into Alton's chest. But Wednesday afternoon, an additional cell phone recorded video was produced capturing the altercation and showing the entirety of the actual shooting and the way in which the officers respond. Again, this is graphic, but we're going to show you the video in its entirety because you need to see this.
Hey, bro! You fucking move, I swear to God! Hey, boss! You're on the ground! Careful, man. You see me do shot fire. Fuck!
Again, additional details beyond the video have still yet to be reported, but at least 5 shots are heard captured in the recording. Police officer telling him to get on the ground when he's already pinned on the ground is captured in the recording. The fact that he wasn't holding a gun is captured in the recording. The police officer reaching into his pocket to retrieve the gun that he wasn't holding is captured in the recording. And in the recording, we witness Alton Sterling's last moments alive as the officers exhibit no immediacy to save his life as he lies dying in the same place he typically hustled CDs. His cause of death is corroborated by East Baton Rouge Parish Coroner William Bo Clark, whose initial autopsy report states that Sterling died due to homicide after suffering multiple gunshot wounds to his chest and back. It should be noted that this fatal incident is said to have not been captured by police body cameras. Both officers were said to have been wearing body cams. But, as the Advocate reports, Corporal McNeely stated that the recording devices worn by both officers fell off during the incident. Despite the current lack of footage and information about the shooting from Baton Rouge police, Abdullah Muflahi, the owner of the store that Sterling was killed in front of, offered his witness account of the events that took place. He stated that he was inside of the store when the officers arrived, but walked out as the officers engaged in the physical altercation with Sterling against the silver car seen in the prior cell phone footage. He stated the officers were quote-unquote aggressive from the start.
They kind of tried to slam him on there and kind of resisted him. They backed off of him and tasered him. The other cop ran and kind of tackled him onto another car that was on there. From there, they went to the ground.
So when they get on the ground, they're on the ground here?
Yes, and he's on his back.
He goes on to explain the officers had control of Sterling's left hand while pinning him to the ground, but did not have control of his right hand. He's then asked by the interviewer if he witnessed Sterling reaching for his gun.
I did not see him reach for his gun.
And so you saw...
After they shot him and got off, his hand was on the side of him. There was no gun in his hand or his hand inside his gun.
Was the gun visible when they shot it?
Not at all.
And so when did the gun become visible?
After the cop had went inside his pocket to pull it out.
His account appears to be spot on with the cell phone footage provided previously. In a separate interview, the clerk explains why Sterling was carrying a firearm.
He just started carrying a weapon a couple days ago after a couple of his friends that sell also CDs at different locations were robbed.
CNN reports that Muflahi commented that he had no knowledge of the incident that was reported by an anonymous caller. He said, just 5 minutes before, he walked into the store getting something to drink, joking around. We were calling each other names. He also expressed confidence that his surveillance cameras likely captured both the incidents seen in the cell phone footage as well as what took place before and after, but that he hasn't seen it and that authorities confiscated the evidence. Muflahi and others have described Alton Sterling as the CD man. He'd post up in front of the shop selling CDs and music with the permission of Muflahi, who stated that he'd known Sterling for 6 years and that at no point had he witnessed him getting into any altercations. Alton's sister described him as a sweet person, which has been backed by members of the community who knew him. It's important to note that Alton also had prior criminal accusations from the 1990s, which include battery, damage to property, possession of marijuana, and the illegal carrying of a weapon. With a reported conviction as a sex offender in 2000 for having consensual sex with a person under the age of 17. And according to New York Daily News, he was currently on probation and therefore not allowed to carry a firearm. Not mention accusations, the conviction, and the fact that he had a firearm on him in respect to full transparency with you all. But it's equally, if not more important, to note that these prior instances bear no weight in this shooting incident because it's about whether he was attempting to use a gun prior to his shooting, to determine if it was justified or not for police to use deadly force to end this man's life. Some information that police did release was the names of the cops involved in the shooting. This Wednesday afternoon, they named Baton Rouge police officers, Blaine Salamani, a 28-year-old 4-year veteran of the police force, and Howie Lake II, a 29-year-old 3-year veteran of the Baton Rouge Police Department. Both received commendations last year. According to a news release, both officers involved in the shooting have been placed on paid administrative leave as of Tuesday morning, standard procedure for the Baton Rouge Police Department. District Attorney Hilar C. Moore III shared that both Salamani and Lake were interviewed regarding the shooting, stating, "The officers feel they were completely justified." There will likely be additional interviews as the investigation is now in the hands of the U.S. Department of Justice, according to Governor John Bell Edwards. District Attorney Moore states that he expects the investigation will take at least a month and expects transparency. Early Wednesday morning, the family of Alton Sterling also spoke out during a press conference about the shooting. Sterling's 15-year-old child is seen crying while his widow speaks to the public.
With that being said, the individuals involved in his murder took away a man with children who depended upon their daddy on a daily basis. My son is not the youngest. He is the oldest of his siblings. He is 15 years old. He had to watch this as this was put all over the outlets and everything that was possible to be shown.
Following the news of Sterling's shooting, protests took place in the streets of Baton Rouge during the evening in front of the Triple S store where he was killed. They lasted until the late hours as word began to travel throughout social media. Sterling's name joined the ever-growing list of hashtags that have been used to focus the discussion about police shootings such as these, shootings that have long been commonplace in American society. Figures like Zendaya tweeted, "How many more times must this happen for us to matter? How many more must we lose? Black Lives Matter, hashtag Alton Sterling." While actress Olivia Wilde wrote, "He had a right to sell CDs and a right to due process, but he was shot for being a black man. Don't rationalize murder, Alton Sterling." Activist D-Ray also commented, "Alton Sterling could have been me, or you, or my uncle, or my father, and they killed him so easily. It was just so easy for them to kill him." Alton Sterling is the 560th person killed by police this year. As of this report on Wednesday, July 6, 2016, we're only 186 days into the year. That averages out to a little over 3 killings by police a day. Of those 560 people, 135 of them are black. At first, you might think, well, it's less than half. Well, it's actually about 25% of the people killed. Black people amount to 25% of the people killed by cops in America. And yet, black Americans only make up 12.3% of the population. When compared against the rest of non-black American citizens that are killed by cops, black Americans are over twice as likely to be killed by police in 2016 alone. And if you want to remove race from the equation because you don't see color or some shit like that, just think, nearly 600 people are being killed by officers of the law at the halfway point of the year. The same people that are supposed to be protecting these lives, but they're now extinguished by them. If you don't think that's a problem, then you might be part of the problem. For Complex News, I'm Jinx.